guys, here come the dollies. They got fresh sinkers, hot coffee, and the sweetest smile.
All right, welcome back to the Clubmobile, everybody. We're happy to have you. Thanks for joining us. And joining us today is, I feel like I can say this, the one and only Scott Gibson.
You absolutely can say that.
I can say that.
This is very exciting.
Yes.
I did not pay anybody to say that, but
Sure. We'll just let people believe that.
There are no paid actors on this podcast.
None of them.
You would not want another one of me in the world, I don't think.
I think one of you is enough, and that's a compliment.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Most people I love tell me I'm enough.
I'm super excited for this one.
Yes, me too.
Ack Ack was my favorite in the Pacific, so this is super exciting for me.
Fantastic.
I would love to know about, this is a question I ask every guest that has been in one of the HBO War shows. What was your audition process like, and what was the research like? Did you know anything about Ack Ack prior to getting the role?
I didn't know anything. I knew some general stuff about the Pacific War, maybe more so than your average person. But I'm old. I'm one of those guys that's old enough that I auditioned for Band of Brothers.
Oh,
and
really?
So I was in LA getting an agent manager, and the manager knew Tom Hanks, and I'd just done Nuremberg. So he said, if you can get some of your tape from Nuremberg, I'll get it to Tom Hanks, So it was me with Brian Cox, 1945. Perfect. I phoned up the director, Yves Simino. He's like, yeah, no problem. I can get you some stuff. And then a couple of weeks later, I hadn't heard anything. Got back to him, and he said, Alec Baldwin has final cut on this, and he's, for lack of a better term, dragging his ass. And he's not released it, and it's really pissing me off, and Alec is pissing me off, and I'm so sorry I can't get it. So I ended up sending the tape, and I think initially everyone had to read for Spears.
Okay.
And I, of course, wanted Winters, but I read for Spears, sent the tape, never heard anything. Almost 10 years later, I get this either call or email, hey, you got this audition. So I open it up, look at it. It's the Pacific, HBO, Spielberg, Hanks. I'm like, I'm not getting this. This is, well, I'm not even gonna bother. I'm not gonna audition. Fuck it. Like, it's what a waste of time. As if they're gonna get some Canadian guy to play, this pivotal role in their series. And that's how I kind of went to bed with it. But then the next day I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I just had this feeling like, just go in there, do it. And it was in Toronto. Went into the casting office. There's three scenes, did them great. They, do you want to do it again or anything? Changed? No, it's great. And then I really didn't think about it. And I got a call a few months later, and my agent's like, remember that? The Pacific? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, the casting director has sort of pegged you for that role. Like, they're very interested in you. I'm like, okay. And then months went by. Months. This was like January or something. I think by July I was back home, and I got a call from my agent. She said, they want you to go to LA Friday, and this was a Monday, and meet the producer. And I didn't want to go because I just hadn't been working in a long time, and I just didn't think I had the juice to win it in the room. And I asked her, I said, do you think they'll just offer me the role? She's like, no. So I flew there, and I got to Tony Toe's office, and Meg Lieberman was there, and had a great chat with him at first, and then talk about the role a bit, and then we just rolled right into the audition. So he's like, whenever you're ready. So I go behind his desk, and I'm staring at the wall, and I just sort of psyching myself up, like, just leave it all on the floor. And I turn around, and of course I'm staring at 3 Golden Globes, or, you know, the awards for Band of Brothers are staring at me right in the face. Like, that's not intimidating. I do the audition. It's great. He loved it. Didn't have to change anything. And then it's really quick after that. It's like, okay, thanks. We'll be in touch. I left the room, and then Tony popped his head out and he said, Scott, hang on for just a sec. So then I got this weird kind of feeling like, oh, maybe they want me to do it differently or read for a different role, and then about a minute later, the door opens and he's got a stack of manila envelopes and he hands them to me, and they're all 10 episodes of The Pacific. And he said, here's some reading for the flight home. I think you're going to need it.
Wow.
Wow.
That's how I got it.
What a way to be told.
That's
I love
amazing.
And Meg, of course, was like, Tony, you know, we got to go through the channels. Because Hanks and Spielberg had to sign off on everybody. Yeah. So they saw the tapes. And by the very end of it, I told Tony this whole story about not wanting to audition. And this was like, we rapped, I think it was a rap party. And he was kind of laughing at the story. And I said, if I didn't show up, would you have still hired me? And he's like, yeah. He said,
so you were right anyway.
Well,
he said, yeah, they were both just like, it's just one of those karma type things, I guess, in your life, your career, where it's like, that's the guy. We know it's the guy or girl, like that's the person. And I mean, I was obviously just thrilled, intimidated for sure. But yeah, he was like, no. And he would tell me from time to time how good my audition was and how much it stood out. He had spoke to Joshua Jackson, his rep, because they were interested in him for Haldane.
Really?
And then after a while through the process, I guess his manager phoned up and said, yeah, like he auditioned and they pulled him. His manager said, you know, he can't do it. He's got a project that's greenlit. And Tony said, well, what is it? And the manager says, it's a remake of Fletch.
What the?
Yeah, and the movie never happened.
Wow.
So I don't know if he probably would have done it. I don't know. I've worked with Josh. I worked with him on The Skulls years ago. And he thought, when I walked on set, he's like, dude, I thought it was my half brother. You look identical to my half brother. Similar look, but anyway, Tony's like, yeah, and I mean, we got the right guy. We got it right. You know, you were perfect for it. Yeah.
And also, can't picture anybody else in the role.
Yeah. No shade to Damian Lewis, but I feel like you could have played a good Winters as well.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it happened this way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
Very, very glad.
Audition for both and get one of them. There were some guys from Band of Brothers that wanted to be in the Pacific if they could, but you're portraying real guys, so you can't.
Yeah.
You can't be known as one guy and then the next. Yeah. I would have loved to have played Winters as well. I think Damien did an amazing job with it. Really.
Excellent. Yeah.
And they're similar men.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know? I agree. Yeah. I feel like Haldane was a mixture of Winters and Spears in some ways.
Oh yeah.
Having the realness of Spears, but then kind of the softness of Winters at the same time. That
humanity that Dick Winters has. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. They gave us all kinds of background material. The thing I got that helped me the most were his letters that he wrote to his football coach and the dean of the college, because he was very close with them. After he graduated, he went back to Bowdoin and taught and helped with the football team. He was all-star football player, baseball player, students council president. He played in a band. He played the sax. And in his letters, everything was about his men. How proud he was of them, how proud he was of the Bowdoin boys that were there. He'd mention them. And I don't think he had any sort of affinity of hating the whole system, or like there was no time for anything else other than focusing on the men. And I gleaned so much of that, I think, from what I did from those letters and a few real life people as well.
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of contact with like anybody in the Haldane family leading up to filming? Was there any, because obviously, he passed during the war,
Yeah.
but siblings, anything like that?
Um, he had a older sister,
Hmm.
and she had two kids. One of them being Steve Moore, whom they gave me his number, and I called him before production. And he was retired Marine. He spent his entire working life as a Marine. I don't know. He might have been doing some consulting afterwards, but yeah, for him, what it was like to have Andy, as his uncle, um, and how that was for him when he, like went to boot camp and everything. But I said to him, look, these are some big boots to fill. And he just said, Andy wouldn't say that. Like Andy wouldn't think that about himself. Very humble guy. His family was Scottish Presbyterian.
Mm-hmm.
They were churchgoers. He mentioned this Christian reader, his very last letter, 3 days before he was killed, and he was talking about this Christian reader being his constant companion. I don't think it was necessarily overly religious, but definitely spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
and it gave him solace, in this mad, mad, hellish world that he was in. And he's writing this to a friend, and at the very end, he says, I haven't, given up on other things in life that, bring you joy. So he says, I look forward to having a beer with you when I get home, hopefully Christmas time, and hopefully see you then. But of course, that didn't happen. But that was his last letter, which I
It's a
didn't
very
see
sweet
until
one.
after the show.
Really?
No,
Wow.
no, I didn't. And the guy who's writing, this guy Garrett Shatrosky, he's written this autobiography on Andy. I just don't think he's got a publisher yet, but he sent me that letter.
Mm, that's beautiful.
That
Yeah,
is. I'm always very fascinated by wartime letters.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and
just the
so well
way that,
written too.
yeah, the way that they're written, very well written, and like just communication like that doesn't exist today, right? There is no like long thought out
Mm. Yeah.
message
Everything's
between
so short
people.
now.
Everything is like
Yeah.
short, instant. And I'm always just so, I don't know, just blows my mind that people would
They're
take the time
always,
to really put pen to paper and put
yeah.
all their feelings out there. And then just, there's no unsend button, right? There's no edit, just put it in the mail and that was it.
Yeah, and he had written just before Peleliu saying something to the effect of, "This one's going to be a real peach.
Yeah.
Gotta remember to keep my head down."
God, the irony
Right?
Yeah.
in that statement.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ooh.
And he wasn't
Jeez.
like, they weren't supposed to be. When I went to Peleliu and where they were, it's incredibly small.
Yeah.
Right.
The scope of it and where they were in these ridges and how they had to fight, and I was just blown away. But I think he went back a second time to look at these machine gun placements,
Yeah.
and that's when he got hit. So he'd set it all up and then went back, and just, he'd obviously been targeted, or that spot had been targeted,
Yeah.
and put his head up there, just
Just to peek over, just to say what was going
just a
on.
little
And
too,
then
yeah, like he,
wrong place at the wrong time.
yeah,
Gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
incredible to be
really,
there.
yeah. The scene of Haldane's death always gets me because of the foreshadowing prior to it with the blanket, where he mentions that his dad has made the blankets and he feels as if his dad is holding him, and then the blanket goes over him after his death. Oh, it ruins me. I can't. From that moment on, I'm gone. Um, how was that for you to film? I assume it was a very emotional time. Was it sort of drawn out for you to kind of deal with the emotions yourself, or was it like a very cut and dry, he's gone, we all move on type thing?
Yeah, a little more cut and dry. I mean,
Mm.
it's filmed from the perspective of each lead guy, so
Yeah.
you always see them in the scene.
Mm.
So they couldn't film that separately. And on the day, we were in Melbourne, and we'd have to travel like an hour, 15 minutes. And sometimes your call time was like they pick you up at 3:30 in the morning or 4 in the morning because we started so early, and
Yeah.
always had like a 10-hour day. But it was usually pretty quiet in the morning. Guys were
Yeah.
still sleeping. And
Mm.
when we got there, I just decided like I just sort of steer clear of the guys for the day,
Yeah.
just to let them kind of
Mhm.
get in the moment. And they didn't really talk to me that much either. But then, of course, doing it, I think a lot of those emotions you see are very real.
Mm.
And we filmed episode 5, then 7, and then 6.
Okay.
So, and I had the most of what I had to do was in 6. So,
Mhm.
um, I guess that, if it had been if that had been the last one we did, I don't know how different it would be, because I mean, they all knew great actors, and they knew the weight of it. And so it really came off quite good.
Yeah. It works amazingly. But
Hmm.
I'm also kind of glad that you had more time with them after
Yeah.
that. So it was like very emotional, but then you could have some kind of fun afterwards, if any of it was fun. Was any of it fun?
Oh, no, it was all thrilling. It's
Zero fun was had.
there was
Zero
no
fun.
fun.
No fun at
We did
all.
not go out, cause havoc. You had to be careful. It was very intimidating.
Yeah, I can
Not,
imagine.
you know, because of Band of Brothers, and we wanted to get it so right,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's Hanks and Spielberg. Um, the guys who trained us, Dale Dye and Freddie Joe Farnsworth and Bruce Whitfield and a few other good guys. I mean, they're Marines,
Mm,
so it meant
yeah.
the world to them. And Freddie was in Suicide Charlie, so you'll see
Hmm.
their guys on the,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure
Right.
he talked about that. So it meant so much to those guys, and we just wanted to get everything right. And
Mm.
the guy who was supposed to play John Basilone was fired
Yeah.
the
You told us that.
first day
Yeah.
of boot camp. He was fired. So until you got on camera, you were just like, oh my god, like I could just be replaced. Like, this is
Right.
horrendous. And the very first thing I filmed, I kind of muddled it up just because the tank is exploding. I jump in the tank track. The tank is exploding. Um, but just how the timing and the rigging and everything, it didn't go off when it should have. So I had to sort of ad lib, but it felt weird where I was. And so I stumbled whatever I said at the end of it. And the director, Carl Franklin, he's watching the playback, and I just felt like absolute crap. I'm like, man, like the first time I get on camera, and this happens. And he looks over at me, and he's like, he does that
Try
face,
again.
right? And I'm just like, they couldn't redo it because it would have cost like 30 grand
God.
for
To
the
set,
pyro.
yeah, to set all the
Like literally
explosions
don't
again.
mess it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, but
God.
Tony looked at me, and he's just like, don't worry about it. Like, get it in post. Like, just put it out of your mind. Like, he was great for that, and
Yeah.
he'd always say, that was great for me. Look, do you want another one, or do you want to do something different? Or like that. For me, it was great.
Right.
And all the
Yeah.
directors were like that. David Nutter and Tim Van Patten, of course, directed 3 of them, and they really just let us do our thing, which was awesome.
Mm.
Like, they wouldn't, though they might say, try, occasionally try this or that, for this take, whatever. But for the most part, they just were like, you're the actor.
Yeah.
So what am I going to tell? Like, you're the best guy for the role. You got hired for it. Just go do your thing. And that, tremendous amount of confidence. Like, it's amazing how comfortable and professional and um, giving they are in such a like big production.
Yeah.
And you don't have this one name, some big star. I mean, the
Mm.
stars were all the real guys.
Yeah.
So that's all we had to focus on, and we wanted to get it right. And we would mostly, I think you'd look to Dale Dye or Freddie Joe and say, how was that?
Yeah,
Because
you wouldn't
we
look to anyone else.
Right.
no, because you're going along and everything with your weapons and your gear and your webbing and helmet and all that. Like you're sort of focused on all that and what you have to do in the situation. So whatever you had to say came out more naturally
Yeah.
in that environment. And the sets were incredible.
Yes.
Like you just looked like you were in a war.
Right.
Mm.
Behind you was
They
the
did it
cameras and
very
everything,
well.
obviously, but
Yeah.
it just was, they spent so much money and time on all those sets. Absolutely incredible. So it was fun. It was daunting,
Mhm.
but you knew you were doing something really
Yeah.
special. Just couldn't think about it right in the moment.
Did you
Right.
find boot camp extremely difficult, or was it kind of I can get through this in order to play the role I'm supposed to play?
Yeah, it was more the PT for me because I'm like 10 years older than all the guys that are in there, and I wasn't in the best shape. I'm not a runner,
Mm.
so that bothered me. But they made it very real. Like they picked you up at the resort, you get in these vans, and then it's Freddie Joe just shut the fuck up, right? Screaming at you right away.
That's very Freddie Joe. I can
Yeah.
imagine that
Oh,
happening.
That's
that guy could swear. I mean, he could cut you down just so easily. And then when
Mm.
because we went second for the boot camp, it was 4 days, just because they were filming already. And a lot of us that showed up,
okay.
Bernthal and Rami and myself and Brendan, I mean, we weren't in it until that 5. So they weren't going to keep us in Australia for an extra month or so after
Right.
the other guys had done it. So, uh, and I got off the bus and I'm like, just don't separate me, because I knew I was the only officer there and I didn't want to be separated from everybody. And this is what I'm thinking in my head. So Mike Stokey, the XO, we all line up and he sort of explains what's going to happen. And then he says, okay, Haldane, you're with me. Everyone else over there. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh no.
So
First fear
No.
realized.
I walk over to him and he just said, you're going to be at the CP with us this entire time. He knew, and he had told the guys, which I didn't know, but he sort of told Freddie and Bruce that he's like, he's mine. Like he's got a big role in a short time to learn a lot of stuff. So, but I didn't know that. But anyways, I'm walking back to the CP with him, and Freddie and Whitfield are coming towards me, and they got the smoky hats
You can't
on,
see him.
And he's just eyeballing me, Freddie Joe, like looking right through me.
God.
And he gets about a yard away and he goes, going back to your bitch tent, bitch. And spat tobacco right at my feet
Oh my god.
and just kept
my
walking.
God.
And I'm like,
Oh,
I
you're
am
like,
fucked.
fuck. Yeah, I'm
This
ruined.
Oh my
uh,
God.
but again, so every night we eat together and everything. Their way of dealing with me was just ignoring me.
Right.
Like there was no personal contact. I mean, that's like what it's like in boot anyways, but
Right.
just nothing at night. Mike might say a thing or two, but I was on my own. All the other guys were elsewhere, and some of the drilling that we were doing, they had me separated. They did that on purpose,
Hmm.
create that sort of separation. But Freddie called me, in boot camp you're a rank lower, so I was lieutenant, but he didn't call me Haldane. He called me Dick Licker.
Oh no.
Hey, Dick Licker.
He's
Dick
very
Licker.
inventive.
He really is. And
He's an
it's
inventive
and we've
man.
spoken to him too. So I'm like, he was so nice. on the phone with us. He's
Yes,
so
he's very
sweet. Like,
personable.
he's so nice, very personable.
And
And
then
it's
you get
like
that.
two different versions of Freddie Joe.
It's
Yeah.
two different guys.
You really do get two different versions of this guy.
Yeah. Dick
Oh my
licker.
God.
Oh my God.
Get the fuck over here and learn something. Learn something, dick licker. And that was light compared to what he called other guys and said.
That was watered down.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, at the very end, when you graduate, you're all lined up.
Yeah.
And I think Stokey pins the Eagle Globe and Anchor on you.
Mm.
Or maybe it was Freddie, but they come, congratulations. And it was Captain. And so Freddie gets right in front of me. He's Captain Haldane.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
I started to tear up.
Oh.
It makes me kind of tear up now, thinking about it. And then afterwards, because I became good friends with him even during the production, but afterwards he was like, "Yeah, I saw you tear up, bitch. Yeah."
You even imitate him really good.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I
really
talk to him all
good.
the time. You were gonna cry. You were gonna cry like a bitch.
Because that's exactly what he would say.
Yes.
Oh, he said,
He was
yeah.
so nice to us too.
He was.
So nice.
And then when I met Dale, so of course he's on set, but he came to visit with us, and I spoke to him. I walked around with him a bit, and you don't sleep at all during boot camp.
Yeah.
And we were in these 1942 tents and on the ground and stuff. Like, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't Shangri-La either. And we didn't have cots or bunks or inside like the band guys did, and they had it hard as well. But he shows up, talk to him, and then he's like, "All right, Lieutenant, talk to you soon." And for some reason, while I'm shaking his hand, I say, "It's Captain, sir." And I just, it's like I'm watching the words come out of my mouth in slow motion.
And you're trying to like, no, wait.
This
pull it back.
Pull them back.
How do I get this back?
Feeling yourself, like, just feel your soul leave your body. Like, what the fuck did I just do?
And he's still holding my hand, and he had it started to release, like it was slow motion, and then he gripped my hand harder, pulled me into him, looked at me, and said, "Not till I say you're, God damn it."
Damn.
Like, oh man.
God.
Oh
what
my
did I do?
That's
God.
scary.
Oh my God.
It is, but it like they didn't have Freddie on Masters of the Air, and
No.
him and Stokey had some differences over the years. I mean, not personal stuff, but just how they worked.
Right.
And he always thought Freddie was a bit too hard on the guys. Well, they didn't have that in Masters. So like if there were issues and there were cast issues with us, there were a couple guys like they weren't crazy about boot camp, they weren't crazy about Freddie, and they made it vocal. But he was there to be that buffer between Mike and Dale.
Right.
Yeah.
And he scared the hell out of us. So they didn't have that on Masters. And that's where things got loosey goosey and screwed, actors, whatever issues they were having on that got to Stokey, and Stokey was like, "Oh fuck, I wish Freddie Joe was here." And I said to Freddie, it just wouldn't have been the same if you didn't haze us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in the Marine Corps manual. I mean, that's like,
right.
That has to happen. You have to be torn apart like that because it happens to everybody, no matter who you are. They treat everybody the same. And the only thing is, if you don't respond to it, if you roll your eyes, or like I remember some French kid who was backpacking and he was an eye roller, and I'm just like, "Oh, buddy, you're gonna get us all, and just eat it." And
right.
Because in boot camp, I would walk around with Stokey at night, and the first night we got attacked by Freddie Joe and Sergeant Bunch. So they just came out of the jungle and made it through the perimeter, and they were stealth. Like I was with him with Stokey, and he's like, "Hang on a sec," and then all of a sudden you just see Freddie Joe coming in, and like if it was for real, you'd be dead. But at the perimeter, we had guys in foxholes, and their weapons are supposed to be pointed away from the camp, and these passwords. And this one was Clark, and the guy's supposed to respond Gable. So we're about 10-15, and it's pitch black, no lights, in a jungle in Australia. And he hears us walking towards him, and he's like, "Clark," you know, you can hear the fear in his voice. And Stokey just says, "Don't say anything," because he wants to see what the guy's going to do. And then you hear, "Clark," and then bang, he fired his M1. They're blanks, but the muzzle, like the blast, just lit everything up.
Oh my God.
And it would have killed us or killed one of us.
Jesus.
And then
Oh my
Stokey
God.
just reamed this guy like nobody's business. And another time, this, you know, cease fire after this drill we're doing, and this French guy fires, and Freddie's like, "Who the fuck kept firing the weapon?" And got up to, he knew who it was, but the guy wouldn't admit, and his buddy wouldn't rat him out. But Freddie was like, "You French commie surrender monkey," kind of like he went
in.
He went in. Oh shit.
Oh God.
And it's also, yeah, it's like you can't be too sensitive. Like,
No,
this
you gotta
guy's
have
gonna call
thick
me
skin.
dick licker for 4 days. Like, I kind of enjoyed it, you know. And I was like, yeah,
It felt
man,
so real.
Yeah.
yeah. And we for the majority of us, we carried that all the way through production, which really made a big difference, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It never gets old to tell any of those stories.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to talk
And they're
about
fun.
it. Always happy to talk about Andy.
No, we love hearing stuff like this.
Yeah, the production. And I wanted to go to Peleliu right after we filmed.
Yeah.
But I was just too tired.
Yeah.
To be honest, like it was.
Probably just wanted to come home after all that as well.
I would imagine. Also, mentally, it takes a lot out of you. Like it just.
Yeah, I mean,
you now have to like unpack everything you just did, and like separate yourself from this person.
Yeah, I mean, just incredible experience. You're so close with, you know, don't necessarily see or talk to many of the guys, but when you do, it's like yesterday, and
right.
all the love is there. And yeah, I was gassed. I wanted to go home, but I didn't go home at Christmas, so I was there 7 months.
Wow.
And then to finally get to Peleliu was just, I mean, I was there a year ago today.
Wow.
A year ago on the 13th, and the ceremony for the 80th was on the 15th.
Amazing.
It was just
incredible.
Yeah, but it's all overgrown.
Yeah.
Of course, it was all blown up, and there was not much foliage by the time they got into those ridges, because it had been bombed so much, and all the ordnance that's there. There was a guy there for 10 years clearing ordnance, live ordnance, and he got over 10,000 shells and rounds, and there's still a ton there. And then those caves, like, you're there and you see, or you go into any of these caves, you can understand just how difficult a fight it was, because there's sort of it was like whack-a-mole. And they had one that could hold 1,000 men. They had these chambers off of the main hallway, if you will, and guys could sleep in there, and they had communication room, and, you know, it was dug down and then in. And it's just, it's mind, but there's tanks there, and weapons, and shell casings, and, you know, sledges, bunkers still very much intact. And there's one where on White Beach, where Lecky came in, this bunker that's there, like all the concrete and all the rocks, and like they shelled the crap out of that area for days, and this thing was still intact. And of course, it's all just like in Europe, enfilading fire, so it goes across the beach, not out to sea. So you can hit this thing so many times, and it's just, they sort of bounce off, right? But the weaponry, I mean, those guys landed on that beach and just get mowed down on those first waves, just like in Europe. So and also to go there and be recognized, you know,
I bet
is pretty wild. Because so many people would just, you know, they see me and they associate, obviously, Andy. I mean, it's always nice and flattering, but to have that as well is pretty
Yeah.
Humbling, very, very
Mm.
humbling.
That kind of leads me into a question that I want to ask, where was the decision instant to keep his name alive? Like right after you got the role, was it like an instant, I have to keep working in order for this man to be remembered? Or did it take you a few years to process what you had done in the show and then sort of say, I can't let this man be forgotten? Because Gabby and I are really huge believers in the second you stop saying someone's name is when they truly die.
Mm.
Was it sort of a, I have to remember him from this moment, or did it take you a couple years to sort of process everything before then going into it?
Yeah, I mean, it took a while because, you know, it took a while for them. It took them longer to edit this than Van. They had these issues and different people involved and stuff. So when did we finish? 2008, and it didn't come out till 2010.
Yeah.
So you go to LA, and it's so much about, okay, I was in this project. This is the launching pad for my career. You know, getting a better agent or manager or whatever type roles. And of course, that worked. You know, these guys would have worked for sure without it. But Rami got his series because of the Pacific.
Yeah.
That one, what was it?
Was it the robot one?
Yeah,
Mr. Robot? There we go.
because
Mr.
they were
Robot,
looking,
yeah.
they were looking for a white kid for that.
Really?
And they looked and looked, and the guy who created it, the showrunners, he's Egyptian,
Oh.
and his wife had seen the Pacific, and so finally she was like, "How about this guy?"
Wow.
Bang! I'm sure he would have worked otherwise because the guy, I mean, awesome actor and such a unique look, and
Yeah.
his cadence, the way he speaks, right? It's just like
It's just
it's
a different
it's
kind
so
of guy,
unique.
yeah.
Bernthal is just an animal. I mean, that guy just destroys everything he's in, and you know, Badger, but we've all worked. But yeah, at first it was all about that, and then, you know, trying to get a green card and work there. But I went to a Wounded Warriors meeting with Josh. It was a lunch thing, and there were a couple Marines in their blues at our table, and one guy had obviously been in a vehicle that ran over an IED. So I mean, I don't know, 60-70% of his body was burnt, but he was in his blues at our table. So when I got there, Josh was there. He was beside this other guy who was across from me in his blues, looked fine. And he said, "I'd like to get a picture." And so Josh stands up. He's like, "Oh, okay, great." And he goes, "No, I want one with the captain."
Oh, that's very sweet.
That's very sweet.
And so I went
love
around the
that.
table.
No shade to Josh. We
No,
love
Sorry,
Josh.
Josh.
no.
Sorry, Josh.
But that's very
Sorry,
sweet.
Yeah. And but he stood up and he had no legs.
Oh.
Oh gosh.
And then the guy who brought us there said, you know, this is like in the VA, in the hospitals, when these guys come back and everything, all they do is watch Band of Brothers in the Pacific.
Wow.
So when I went to their Warriors night where the guys graduate at Camp Pendleton, you know, there were some hard ass dudes that were like, "Fucking no way!" You know, they're like, "Captain Haldane,"
like fangirling a little bit.
Yeah.
like,
that's
you know,
very cute.
Sergeant Major, and like, you know, like the chevron on him's huge, and with the guns, and
Wow.
trying to figure it all out. And these guys are just, they're so into it, and that. So that was initially, you know, the impact of what it means to them, what it means to everybody, but what it means to them is so special. And so every event I've gone to, particularly with Marines, but anyone in the, like Major General Shipley, who was in charge of the Pacific side of things for the Marine Corps, he went to the event, and I'd met him a year before in Hawaii. So he was there at the 80th. I saw him in the airport. Anyways, after the ceremony, I went up and said hello to him. And I said, "I saw you in the airport, and I was going to call you by your nickname, Knuckles. Just scream out Knuckles." And it's the Major General, right?
Yeah.
He's a 2-star dude, but he was great. He's really awesome. But initially, I got brought to Normandy. Tim Gray, he brought us to. He called me up out of the blue or messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm going to Normandy with some Band of Brothers guys. Do you want to go?" I'm like, Yeah, I'd love to. And that was 3 years ago. And being there and being recognized by people every year. And you're with these 100-year-old veterans, and it's all about them, but people are still just like kind of fangirl, mainly the guys. But there was a guy from the one veteran we had last year, Dennis. He was in the Third Army, and so we brought him down to Omaha. It was at Omaha Beach, and members of the Third Army were there doing their own tour. I think there are 50 of them or so. And so we're like, great, we'll get a picture with Dennis and these guys. So someone ran over to talk to them, like, yeah, just after a presentation or orientation, we'll get some pictures. And their major came over and to the van we were at, and he's leaning in the window and he's talking to Dennis. And then he just turns and he looks at me. He's like, I don't know your name. I know who you are.
Oh, wow.
He says, you know that in Ep7 when you talk about your watch, or you got a watch, wake me up. And he says, well, that whole, I don't know if he did the never run when you can walk part, but certainly the watch and waking him up in 20 minutes. And he said, when I was company commander in Afghanistan, I would say that to my boys every day. So you're just, I mean, but family members, military, my grandfather, he got the DSC, Second World War. He was a captain in the Navy, captained 9 different ships, sunk 2 subs. It all meant a lot to me anyway, but as I've done more of these things, just seeing how people respond, and how being there is so important to honor Andy. And also I've just received so much from all these trips, and going to Hawaii, going to Normandy, the guy at the Pacific Parks in Hawaii, Jim McCoy, runs the show there, and they're the ceremony on December 7th. So next year is their 85th, and he made an inquiry to me through Tracy Hunter at Beyond the Call. I work with her on a lot of these projects with the veterans, and couldn't have done any of those trips without her. She's amazing. And he asked if I would speak at a ceremony for the 85th. And I'm like, what the? I'm Canadian, not in the military, but it's just, he said, he's not Hollywood, and he's done so much to remember Andy, and those guys that, he fought with. And like, how do you say no? Or just,
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe, like people coming up to you or getting to do these things. So the more I get, the more I give, and doing podcasts. And we're going to start like a tour company, basically tour production company separate from Beyond the Call. And we're going to take people to Guam and Peleliu and Guadalcanal.
Wow.
Black Rifle wants to be involved as well. And then we have a pitch with the Pacific Museum in Fredericksburg where we're doing that panel.
Right.
So to combine on trips and also educational material, short little documentary stuff. So they're very keen on that. And they're huge fans of the Pacific. And they want to compete with the War Museum in New Orleans.
Cheeky.
We can do trips, and we can,
We can do this and that.
Yeah, they shouldn't get all the accolades and funding and stuff. I mean, it's a great museum.
Hey, as long as you save us a spot.
Yeah.
Totally. Go ahead.
Yeah. Would you go to Peleliu?
Yeah,
Sure.
I would.
It's
Absolutely, I would.
It's a long. I think we're definitely gonna go next year. I don't know for the anniversary itself, because it's like monsoon season there.
Yeah.
So the heat is just like, you step outside and you got a bucket of sweat going, kind of thing.
Oof.
I mean, of course, being there, you forget about all that.
Right.
And when you're in the jungle and the shade, or go hide in the cave if you want, but there's some scary shit in there.
This is a very odd question that just came to me. When you were filming, and obviously you're meant to be in the jungle. Obviously you weren't. Did they have to like spray you with fake sweat, or were you guys just all that sweaty in Australia?
Yeah, they would spray you a bit. They'd spray your
Yeah,
uniform at night.
because you're like soaked.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was hot there. Like it'd get 50 degrees on set, Celsius.
Oh, yeah. So I'm like,
I knew. I knew he meant Celsius.
well, good for you.
I
I'm
clocked
like,
that. I was like 50.
50's
Wait,
kind of
that's cold.
crisp. That's like football
Nope.
weather, but
No.
no, 50
No, that-
Celsius. Okay.
Yeah, so during the day filming, kind of no problem, but they'd
Right.
still always spray you and break down your uniform. And
Mhm.
once, some like the snakes and spiders there. I don't think I came across any snakes, but a huntsman got on my trousers,
No, thank you. Oh, no, thank you.
Nope.
and they're like,
No.
they're sort of like a tarantula,
Yeah.
like a
Something
skinnier
like that.
tarantula. But
Oh
I
my
didn't know, and I'm
God.
standing there, and it's in the admin building, and one of the guys that was maybe he was costumes or set deck or something, Australian dude. He's like, "Ah, mate, you got a fucking huntsman on your leg." I'm like, "What?" And I look, and
Wait,
it's going down towards my gaiters, and there was a gap that it could get into. And he's sort of like, "Yeah, don't worry, mate, it won't fucking hurt you." And he's sort of laughing about it, right? And he's kind of slapping my leg, but missing it. And I'm like, "Get off!" Get this high pitched tone on me, and like,
That's where I would have burned the building down.
Yeah, I would have said
No.
everyone out.
No, I would have burned the
Absolutely not.
Nope.
yeah.
Don't
And I
do
had,
bugs.
my rifle, and I'm like, do I smash it, or
Do I just shoot it?
I'm
What
gonna
do I do?
I'm gonna hurt myself doing this?
Is it gonna hurt me?
Yeah.
I'd rather hurt myself than have
It's like,
that hurt me, because
ugh,
that could be worse.
no, we get we get nasty water bugs in New York in the summer when it gets really humid,
Oh.
and some of them, the ones that you could probably saddle up and ride like a horse, can fly. And it's
no.
like you try to get it, and it's like you just kind of like stun it, and I'm like, oh,
No, thank you. I
no
can't
way,
can't do
no
KP.
way.
Yeah.
do it.
Ugh.
Oh,
That's why
geez.
people are like, you should visit Australia. It's really nice.
We would love to know about your work with Beyond the Call.
Yes.
How did that get started? And how were you asked to be involved, or were you already in on it?
Yeah, like you're what, co-director of the foundation? Of the
Yeah.
it's charity foundation?
Yeah. So Tracy Hunter started it, was that like 5-6 years ago, I think, just
Mhm.
with a friend, and hey, let's interview veterans. And then it just evolved
Right.
into she won an Emmy for a documentary she did on one vet. And I think all that stuff is on YouTube that people can see her really good little documentary stories. And so I met her 2 years ago in Hawaii when I went to the gala, because she worked sort of in conjunction with Tim.
Mhm.
And and Al Chapman was there, and eventually we brought Al to Guam. But I love what she was doing, and she'd asked me, well, if you want to be part of it, come aboard. So,
Right.
I mean, she does 99% of the work, and I'm just the stupid actor that shows up, and people get a kick out of seeing.
Yeah.
And then so we filmed Guam and Peleliu, but just didn't have the money to pay for an editor yet. It's hard to, a smaller organization like that, harder to raise money to complete these things.
Yeah.
But like I said, then her involvement with Black Rifle, so they had donated money to us for the Guam Peleliu trip. Also went to a Dallas Cowboys football game on their Veteran Appreciation Day last year, and we're going again this year.
Very nice.
And they have some other things in mind that they want us involved with. When we go to Fredericksburg, we're going to their compound, the Black Rifle compound.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
in Bernie, which is very close to Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
So we'll shoot some guns off with all those Marine yokels. And
That sounds fun.
yeah,
No,
but
that sounds like a lot of fun.
we want to branch out with the trips,
Right.
get people involved and go on those, maybe, get a couple actors to go on the trips as well. But there just really isn't enough about the Pacific side of things. It's gained a lot of traction, the series, certainly, and more and more people seem to have watched it and appreciated it. And there's nothing like Normandy and on any of these places. They're just too far away.
Right.
They have their own little smaller celebrations, but as much light as we can bring to that, and certainly with the tensions that are going on in the world, obviously particularly with China and the buildup of these airfields and creating little islands in the Pacific or stealing ones. The airfield on Peleliu was rebuilt. The Marines, like you could land a heavy bomber on there now.
Wow,
that's incredible.
Yeah, they're there. They have detachments there pretty much year round.
Wow.
And they're under the protection of the U.S.
Right.
But the people there are incredible. What an environment to live. You got to get everything from Palau, boat, like gasoline and food and everything else brought to the island. So it's pretty expensive, but the people are just amazing. So nice. And on Guam as well.
Yeah.
I would love to something
go.
we've
I've
said.
We've
said about just when it comes to the World War II community, that just everybody is willing to help, willing to jump in, and nice. Just I think the goal for everybody is really the same. Just keep those memories alive, keep those legacies going.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are a few bad actors. I don't mean actors act well, maybe some actors as well, but people involved that
a few bad apples,
kind of do things more, hey, look, I got this veteran, or
for clout,
and pushing them around maybe too much, taking them to too many places, like making it more about their association as opposed to, just the veteran themselves. And that's few and far between, thankfully, because it is a great community, and to be able to see, some of the same people every year in Normandy and Hawaii, and then Texas, it's awesome. Really, really blessed, and just gonna keep doing it, keep expanding it.
Yeah, that's great.
I would love to wrap up with asking what's been your proudest moment in carrying on.
I was just going to ask that.
Carrying on Haldane's legacy.
Or anything that you've done.
Or anything since.
In carrying on the legacy of any vet since. We've stumped him.
He's thinking.
I've received so many messages, like through Instagram and in person as well, about how much that portrayal meant to people. In some cases, one case, a girl in Korea who was just really kind of struggling with life and maybe a bit suicidal even. And the Pacific just sort of changed that for her, and in particular, my portrayal of Andy. And they'll quote specific stuff for people, that watch it and just, I was feeling down about this or that, and I had to watch it, and watching you and your portrayal of Andy, and getting that from combat veterans that, one of the Black Rifle guys, Clint Trial, and the first time I was in Fredericksburg and he came to the event and he lost both of his legs. Iraq, I believe. Hopefully I get that right, Clint, if you watch this. But he said to me in a private moment, he said, you're portrayed like that's the epitome of a Marine officer, and you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. It just doesn't get much better than that. And just so thankful I was able to portray him in that way. That, not the Dale, and he was kind of getting me to be a little bit more vocal. I'll tell you this short story, but it was Ep7, and where we're going up into the hills, and so I'm leading the whole company. But Andy went completely gray in a month.
Wow.
Basically, like Pavuvu, Peleliu, went completely gray. So they would put gray in my hair, but of course I wore the helmet, and it took extra long for me to get the makeup. All the other guys were gone. I'm like, oh, Dale's gonna read me out. Shit. So I get to the set, and I'm like, apologies, Skipper, makeup. And he's like, yeah. Okay, anyway, here's what you're doing. You're leading the company up into the hills, and your weapons, let's go, and this over here, and he's ding, da, ding, da, ding, and he's, he wasn't knife hands, because knife hands is where they're screaming at you, kind of thing. And I just thought, wow, I can't do it that way. That's not Andy, and it's not Andy to me.
Right.
And still a little bit intimidated by him, but I'm like, okay, Skipper, yeah. And then one of the Marines that trained us, Sergeant Bunch, he also he served in Iraq. Yeah, Iraq. Anyway, he was the company first sergeant as like a background guy, so he's right beside me. And I just said, hey, when they say action, I'm just going to turn to you and say, is the company ready? You say yes, and then I'll say, lead them out. And then I'll just not say anything and walk. And that's what I did. And then we finished shooting that sequence, and Dale's walking towards me, and I'm going, oh man, but what could he really say anyways? And he came up to me and he said, every leader has his own way of leading, and I respect that. Shook my hand, and he was off. So that's when I knew
that's nice. I
was doing it right.
Yeah.
Because I made it me and how I saw Andy.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing you can do as an actor is taking it. Just you have to bring something of yourself to it. You have to hopefully just embrace it and make it your own and get the hell out of the way. And they gave us every opportunity to do that, and now I get to do things like this almost 15 years later. So it's awesome. And thank you so much for thinking of me and having me on. It's a real pleasure to talk to you both.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for coming to speak with us.
Coming to hang out with us.
This was very fun. I feel very content. Very happy.
How better do you spend a Sunday than this? I mean,
exactly.
I'd hate for you to get off and be like, what an asshole.
We would never. Not to your face.
No, we would never.
Not to your face.
Not to your face, anyway.
Freddie Joe would, for sure.
Yeah, we'll be having a word with him about bitch tent, because that will never leave my head ever.
No, and he can spit tobacco really, really accurately as well.
Yes, yeah, he told us about that as well. I think he was going to do it when we were on a call with him. He was kind of stuffing it.
Those guys, they'd be like, him and Bunch, what time is it? It's dip 30.
Dip. Oh God. I can't. Anyway.
They were doing it the whole time. But also,
oh my God,
like we were all, I think everybody was smoking, boot camp and filming, but
smoking the stress away, probably.
Yeah. But Sergeant Garcia, he told Badge, he's like, if you really want that to do something for you, take the paper out, take the tobacco, and just put it under your tongue or put it in your cheek. He says you'll get more nicotine out of it that way.
Hit that way. Ooh.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No.
Absolutely no, thank you.
No,
he
I
did
quit smoking a while ago, and I just can't. No, not anymore.
Can't do it. No, absolutely not. Okay.
Well, when
we may have to cut that bit out, because if my mother decides that this is going to be the one she listens to,
yeah, and mine.
Hasn't listened to a single one yet, but this would be the one she decides to listen to. You use the smoke.
No, I will say that this might be the one that my stepdad chooses to listen to.
My dad definitely
is such a fan of the Pacific, and the second I told him that I was going to be interviewing Ack Ack Haldane for my podcast, he was like, "What? you're doing what? And I said, okay.
Yeah.
So you listen to this one? Thanks.
Yeah. My dad was like, what are you doing today? I said, I'm recording Scott
No big
Gibson's
deal.
coming on. And he went, I'm sorry, who? I went, Scott Gibson. He goes, from the Pacific. I said, yes, from the Pacific.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah, how did this happen?
How? I'm
How
like,
and why?
you know, magic, you know,
Magic.
we asked really nicely.
Yeah.
We were really sweet about it. Exactly.
We asked really nicely. We usually promise people coffee and donuts too. So, you know.
Like,
No, it's
you never know.
like I say, you're both lovely, and
Thank you.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
flattered to
Well,
do
we're
it.
honored to have had you on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, father
Thank you
and
so much,
stepfather.
Scott.
Welcome,
Hi, guys.
welcome to your daughter's podcast.
Thank you for finally arriving.
Yes.
Finally, you know,
Been almost a
Thank-
year, Dad. Thanks for getting here.
yeah. I'm so thrilled and honored that I'm the one who got you
That
here.
finally brought you into it.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Well, thank you so much, Scott, for joining us.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. We had a great time. We hope you did too.
Absolutely. I'll talk about myself
Wonderful.
anytime.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.